No one has been spared from the devastating rolling blackouts. Small businesses have been forced to shut down as lives and livelihoods have been disrupted. With blackouts becoming the new normal, will the president turn on the light at the end of the tunnel? Our reporter Nqobile Madlala is speaking to small businesses and communities about their expectations of the president's address. Now, Nqobile, earlier on you spoke to a representative from the business sector. We understand you're now engaging residents on how load shedding has affected them and what their expectations are for tonight.
Yes, that's right, Mfundo. And I think just before you came to us, I was speaking to the resident that I'm going to interview just now, and she was just saying solutions. That's what they want to hear from the president, solutions. And I want us to expand on those solutions that you are busy explaining to me. Firstly, when the president gets up and he starts addressing the country, what do you want to hear as a resident?
Thank you. Firstly, to all the viewers, my name is Ashni Bisumpasad. I'm proudly Phoenix, and I'm a concerned resident that is very much involved in my community. Now, I have spoken to you earlier, and I said, in the State of the Nation speech, I don't think we're going to hear anything that's new. The president is going to touch on the energy crisis, the water crisis, the unemployment crisis, the housing crisis, the health crisis. I want him to touch on the brain drain crisis that we have. We've lost over 6.6 million people, or maybe approximately 7 million of scarce skilled people that have left this country. I need him to talk about using affirmative action on merits, and I'm going to touch on that more in details. But Mr. President, Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa, Honorable President again, you are going to deliver the State of the Nation. We have repeatedly heard common strategies with essential services, housing, health, unemployment, the ESCOM, the state of the crisis, different strategies. On crime, we have heard about investigation. But my point is, and the point of many people in South Africa, do you have the guts as the president? Do you have the spine? Because, Mr. President, I had a lot of faith when you was appointed as a president. I thought there's going to be a change. Even the residents of Phoenix, many of us thought that. Now, what we are saying, one of the solution is you could come up with the most brilliant strategies in the State of the Nation speech, but do you have the right competent, corrupt-free people appointed to carry out their strategy? Do you have the guts to name, shame, and fire incompetent, corrupt people?
So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that there needs to be a way to sort of name and shame and look at the people and how they're working in Parliament and in the cabinets and so on.
In the cabinet and in municipal districts. Now, the president is the first citizen. If you remember in my previous interview, I called for a performance evaluation on the leaders of the eThekwini municipality. And stemming from that, we need people to be disciplined, named, shamed, and fired. The same thing with cabinet ministers. If, for example, you look at crime is so high. We had the Devon police station, the Eastern police station, the Limpopo police station, the Chatsworth police station over the years robbed. It seems the criminals are the bosses of Becky Keller, the Minister of Police. Drugs. We hear about investigations. We hardly ever hear of people getting arrested and thrown into jail. We hardly ever hear about the reduction of the manufacturing of drugs. We hardly ever hear that there's a reduced international import of drugs through our seas, the airports. It's continuing. Why? But you are the Minister of Police. So I'm touching on areas, the people, the voters, what's affecting the voters. Then as far as employment is concerned. Now, I'm going to say something very controversial. Again, my name is Ashni Bisumpasad. I'm from Phoenix and I'm a racist. Use affirmative action on merits. We have thousands of brilliant my black brothers and sisters that are law-abiding, educated, and they're still unemployed. Put them in government to deliver. Not your job for pals, not your friends, not your families. Because clearly, our public servants are not evaluated, they're not disciplined, and when it comes with regards to corruption, you hear about them being arrested, you hear about trials, but they're redeployed. You hear about mayors being fired, but they're getting higher positions, even in political structures. So, Mr. President, as a leader, you are not necessarily representing the needs of the people.
And I mean, now let's look at eThekwini. eThekwini has gone through a lot. We've seen floods, we've seen all sort of things happening in eThekwini. As eThekwini residents, what would you like to see from this national speech that the president is going to be delivering?
I would like the president to put politics aside. Like I said, Mr. President, we expect you to have courage and show us unconditional, fantastic leadership, because the country is crumbling. The country now is crumbling. You either hand it over to the opposition or allow this to become the next Zimbabwe. We're already there. We want the president to place, I would prefer many residents, place the eThekwini municipality under administration. For example, you'll find in 6 months, one water leak is repaired 5 times. Now the ratepayers and taxpayers are footing the bill. Again, why don't you appoint employees and service providers, use the affirmative action principles on merits? Not the same people who repeatedly cannot deliver. Hence you are seeing protests in Phoenix everywhere throughout the country. Hence you're seeing a rejection of this multi-party government. We have lost faith. And when people don't vote, you call us racist, especially in Phoenix. But he must remember, the president, especially with we don't practice white blind loyalty. And what do I mean? That I'm going to say this openly. White people and Indians don't practice blind loyalty. We attach an economic, social and political value to the votes. Again, white people and Indians generally do that. We don't practice blind loyalty. So even the opposition party right now in Phoenix are having a very difficult time because they cannot communicate, or they're not getting the response or the resources to deliver. The opposition, the councillors that belong to the opposition parties are having a very hard time. So then again, we don't want to play the race card or the party political cards. We are saying deliver, appoint people on merits, corruption-free people. 50% of our battles will be resolved in the country on a social, economic and political level.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Well, you can hear there, Mfundo, I think what she's saying is service delivery first and everything else after.